plastic. Hi, everyone. Plastic EP here from Melbourne, Australia. And let me tell you, I got one of my great friends here, Tom Murray. How are you today, Tom?
Well, considering it's taken us, 45 minutes to get this thing to work, I'm very relieved.
Now, Tom, you're the author of this fantastic book, right? I just want to show him the book. The Beatles, Mad Day Out. What a book. It's written by your interviews with Simon Weltzman, right? He is a filmmaker as well. He helped you write the book. And then you also got Paul Skellett. He designed the book. I mean, how fantastic are these guys to help you with the publishing and the writing?
Yeah, well, Paul's a brilliant designer, and Simon's actually working with me at the moment of speaking on my life story. But that'll have to go to the lawyers so that I don't get sued. I can say horrible things about people that are dead, but I mustn't say horrible things about people that are alive. But I don't say horrible things about anybody. It's much easier to be nice than to be nasty.
I've got to say something. Paul Weitzman helped me with my documentary. Myself and my wife were interviewed by Paul about Plastic EP, the phenomenon. And I've got to tell you, it's great on the net.
He's brilliant. He's also a brilliant videographer. In fact, he's doing a video at the moment. He's doing a video about all the fans, which as he's been doing for nearly 2 years now. But the other video he's doing, which is in the works, is an interview with myself and Andrew Edwards, who did the Beatles statues in Liverpool. Now he's doing that. He's going to do the book image, that one.
There's the Beatles statues there. I'll just show you, taken from a photo of your book.
Yeah, and Andrew wants to make it the same size as the ones in Liverpool, which are 1.5 times life size. And it would be, if it gets done, the only Beatles statue in London where most of the Mad Day Out pictures were shown. And it'd be right in the middle of London in the exact same spot that the photograph was taken. In fact, we had an anniversary with it 50 years later, and I looked over in a corner and I saw this man. I thought it was Mal Evans. And I thought, no, it can't be. He's dead. It was Mal Evans' son who was riding in the front seat with his dad on that Mad Day Out. But it looked like his dad. It was slightly scary. It was very odd for me to be there as well. I got quite teary at one stage, just thinking how important these images are. And I never thought I'd be in museums. I'm in them. I never thought I'd have a book. We've got it. I'm doing another book. And I didn't even know what I was doing. No one told me who I was photographing.
Tom, I just got to take you back to that day, right? Here you are, a 25-year-old working for the Sunday Times. Yep. They ask you to go and photograph a pop group. You don't know who it is. You got 2 rolls of color film, and you got your camera, which, by the way, what camera was it? You're still using it. Show us. Show me the camera proper. And that's the one that took 23 photos of the Beatles in color.
And it's still got film in it, and I still use it.
Yeah. Can you actually tell me what camera it is for everybody that's out there?
It's a 1967 Nikon F. And I actually have 5 of them, but that's the one that I used. I mean, now they're so heavy. I actually use my phone to take pictures because once you know what you're doing, you can take nice pictures. But it was, it was actually Don McCullum, who's a world-famous war photographer, probably one of the most brilliant photographers in the United Kingdom. In fact, he was knighted. I'm waiting for mine. And he said, I worked at the Sunday Times, and he said, oh, he was going to photograph Pop. Would I drive him around? I said, well, I have to go home and get my car. And I had a red XK150 Jaguar sports car and drove into London on Sunday. And because I had the keys to Sunday Times, because my office was in the studio, which was designed by Lord Snowdon, it was on the roof of the Sunday Times building. And as I was leaving, Don said, bring your camera, make some nice snaps. Over the years, I've been told off by my dear friend and business manager, Michelle Hillman, to stop calling them snaps. She said they're actually quite iconic. So I don't call them snaps anymore. And we drove off in a Jag, and we got to this rehearsal room, which was an old church hall. And I said, oh, someone's playing Lady Madonna. I opened the door and went, oh, shit. It was Paul McCartney playing Lady Madonna. And over in one corner was George and Ringo, and the other was John and Yoko. My voice must have gone up like 5 octaves. I said, is this the group? And he said, Yeah, didn't I say? I went, no. So I had one camera, one lens, 2 rolls of color film. I never know to this day why I took color film, because I've always liked everything in black and white. There's even black and white images in my flat here behind me. But off we went. I couldn't photograph indoors, didn't have any. And as a photographer, I used to have like 100 rolls of film in a case, a tripod, flashlight, other lenses. So I ended up with 23 images, which I kept. I did destroy some because I didn't think they were good enough. I mean, Eve Arnold, who's a brilliant American photographer, she died one day short of her 100th birthday. She said, darling, when you edit down, keep the best for your old age pension. Well, I'm a pensioner now. And she said, throw out the ones you don't like. So I threw out the ones I don't like. And to be honest with you, there are 2 in the set that I don't like still.
Have you still got them?
Yeah, I didn't throw them out. Beatles fans would kill me.
So all right, you've got every photo. You haven't got rid of photos, really. You haven't got rid of them.
Oh no! Well, I've got rid of the ones I didn't like. I kept 23, but of that 23, there's 2 I don't like. But I've never told anyone who they are. Never told my mum, even on a deathbed, who they are. So because Beatles fans like them, and Beatles fans are the best fans in the world. I always have to be careful when I'm surrounded by Beatles fans because they know more about the boys than I do.
Now I've got to ask you, how many photos per film? You had 2 rolls. So how many photos can you take?
Well, that you can take 36, but it's an old press trick. When you go from one location to the other, if you're at frame 2930, you actually take the film out and put it in your pocket. You keep the unused film in one pocket, the used film in another. So rather than, because in this camera, you have to push a button, wind the film back by hand, then put it in a pocket, then get the other one out, wind that by hand, because the back of the camera can't, and it takes time. There was no motor drives in those days. So
Tom, look at this. Who's that?
That's me when I was 25.
Okay, and that's the same camera.
Yeah. Yep. Just got a bigger lens on. See, I should have taken that lens with me, but I didn't.
And who's the famous person who took the photo?
Well, that was taken by Lord Snowdon, who got me my job. Because when I was working in Africa, I worked in newspapers for 4.5 years. Then I went to Africa for 4.5 years. And I asked the people I were a theatre group. I won 3 World Press Awards for my theatre photography. And I said, can I have 2 weeks off without pay? Because Christmas was our summer season in South Africa. It's like you guys, summer's at Christmas. So it's very funny having turkey and plum pudding on a beach with everyone wearing Speedos. But they said, no, I couldn't. So I told them to shove their job with Sun Don't Shine. And as I was leaving, one of the directors, I'd worked with him on War and Peace, he said, I said, I'm sorry you're leaving. Your photographs are brilliant. He said, you're a fantastic photographer, a bit of a pain in the ass, and you remind me of Lord Snowdon. I thought, well, that's 1 compliment out of 2. So when I got home, I bought my XK150, as one does. And my mum said, what you can do? I said, I'm not sure. I'll write to the foremost famous photographers and ask them just to see me. I didn't want a job. I just wondered what I would do next. He said, why don't you write to Lord Snowdon? I said, oh, he'll never answer. He was the only one that did. And I had an appointment at Kensington Palace. I cleaned the car. Mum cleaned me. And I get terrible stage fright, which I'm more or less over it nowadays. Now that I'm 76. And I threw up twice. Got out of the car and threw up everywhere. So I was so nervous. Got there and Lord Snowdon said, was a job at Vogue. And he said, at the Sunday Times studio, the staff photographer has just resigned at 10 o'clock this morning. I was seeing Tony at 12. I had a job by 2. I had the highest paid job in London. I worked with Lord Snowdon, Eve Arnold, Helmut Newton, some of the most famous photographers in the world. Just incredible people, world-class photographers, and highly paid. They wanted me to start on April the 1st. I said, no, I'm not starting on April Fool's Day. So I started April the 2nd. And
I've got to say something, Tom. This is a world-class book, and everybody needs to go and get it. And as I said, they can get it nearly everywhere. I went on the net. It's all over the place.
Yeah. One of the best deal, actually, I hate to give him any more billions, but Amazon have the best deal on it. Although it's not signed, the really big one is signed by Simon and myself and Paul, but there was only 1,000 of those. So the little ones aren't signed.
Can I see the Japanese version and the High Street one?
The High Street one, this one.
Yeah.
So the Japanese one's very expensive because typical Japanese, it comes with a map and it comes with note cards. I mean, it is brilliant. The only thing is I can hardly lift it. But I don't know if anyone can get hold of those, but I know in Japan there were about 120 UK pounds. So I don't know what they'd be in Australian dollars, but it might be able to get them still through the net. It is a brilliant, but it's the full size. Oh, I can hardly get it out. It's the
Can you
full
show
size.
me?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's the full size version of the book.
That's heavy.
It is heavy. Then there's a poster in it and note cards, but I've only got one copy, so I'm not letting that to anybody. Because
That's right.
what I do with my photography over the years, Paul McCartney signed some of my pictures, so's Ringo. I donate them to charity, and so far I've raised 1.65 million and helped raise 9 million worldwide.
Unbelievable. Now,
Yeah.
can I ask you, when you met the Beatles, those photos of yourself where you got them in the flowers, to me, that's totally iconic. I love the greenery and like those kind of lilies that come up in the air and they got their heads everywhere. And you're looking where John is. They're fantastic photos.
Yeah, it was really good. Well, see, I was very lucky. I've always said it was a gift from God, and I don't want to offend anybody who has different religion, but to be there, and I had the stricture of one camera, 2 rolls of film. So I had to be very picky. But because I'd been a photographer for 9 years, I was very good at framing, because I was taught if you frame really tight, you get a bigger picture in a newspaper magazine. So they're all framed like that. And actually those hollyhocks, I had some in my own garden, and they move. They're no longer there at that location. The plants tend to move backwards and forwards and to die out. But at the local church, St Mary's here, which is one of the oldest churches in Bury St Edmunds, they've all started growing there. So I might go around and nick some seeds and put them in my garden. The church
Tom,
won't.
I've got to ask you, when they're standing in the hallway and it's got that arch, what is that place? Is that a church?
Which one's that?
Is there photos of them against the door?
Oh, that's actually it's actually now a courthouse. So when we did the book, we had to get special permission to photograph because there were people in a courthouse. We had to wait till it was empty. And that's where one of the best pictures of the man sleeping. And he never woke up, but surrounded by the 4 Beatles. So it was really quite amazing. The daft thing about the book is, it took us 2 days to cover what we did in 1 day. The traffic was so bad 50 years later. Someone kept saying.
I've got to ask you, when you went along the water and you're taking photos of Paul and he's got no shirt on and he does the muscles.
Yeah.
And then you've got John lying down like he's half dead.
That was very spooky because we were there. And in fact, we got special permission to go back there because it's a private place. The sculptor for Her Majesty the Queen actually lives there. Graham Norton of the Graham Norton Show lives there. And 2 famous actors and actors live there. Now, I'm not even allowed to say their names, but they allowed us back there to do the photographs for the book. But when John threw himself on the ground, I went, oh, and he closed his eyes and his glasses were off. Then he opened his eyes and George was wearing them and he got up. And I was in New York when he was shot. In fact, we were planning a Sagittarius birthday party because I'm a Sag, a photographer, Barry McKinley, Sag, and the art director of GQ, a Sag, and we're 4 of us. And we went out the door and all these people were running by and they were shouting, Lennon's dead, Lennon's dead. And I said, Lennon's been dead since the Russian Revolution. They said, no, John Lennon. And it sent a shiver down our spines. And we walked up the road to the Dakota and the police were there already and people were there. So every year when I go to New York, I always go back to Strawberry Field and say a little thank you on behalf of the pictures helped me raise so much money for so many charities, which was great. I would love to ask him why did he do that. It's bizarre.
That must be one of the biggest highlight, if not the biggest highlight of your career. Come on, the Beatles.
Well, next year I was the youngest photographer of the royal family, so that wasn't too bad.
Okay, but I mean, taking photos of the royal family is one thing, but taking photos of the Beatles, totally another.
Oh yeah, well, this was it. I was a great fan. I mean, I still know half the songs, but we all had the tapes, we all had the discs, the 45s, and I was their age, and that was one of the reasons I got on so well. People used to ignore me, didn't think I knew what I was doing. And I got away with murder when I was photographing because people didn't realize that the youngest looking kid was actually one of the best photographers because the other photographers were all much older. That's why I was the youngest photographer to ever photograph the royal family. I was 25. And I was also a commoner, as it was said. So, hope one day they'll knight me, but I doubt it.
Now, Tom, I'm going to ask you, with the Beatles and the 23 photos you took, can you tell me something about that day with the Beatles that maybe no one knows? Can you tell me something about that day you may have not told anyone? A story with the Beatles?
No, you have to wait for my autobiography for that one.
Can you give me something?
No. Yes, I can. The picture of Paul in the chains was given to his middle wife, the one who sort of backed into his wallet. I don't know. Now he's divorced her.
I've got no comment.
I wonder if it's been cut up or bits of the anatomy have been chopped off or it's been stabbed a few times.
I don't know. I got no comment. Listen, all I want to say is I want everyone to go out there and buy a fantastic book. Let them see it one more time. It's a big book.
Yeah, it's a fabulous book.
Mad Days Out.
Yeah.
And all I got to say is, Tom, I can't thank you enough. It's fantastic. Everyone around the world, buy the book. And do me a favor, just stay there for a minute, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you.